You're back for more sci-fi here on BuzzChomp. I'm Dan Salem, and today we're talking about another great episode of Black Mirror, The Entire History of Us, which is literally what it sounds like.
I'm Mandy.
I'm Dan.
Subscribe to
BuzzChomp.
Woo!
In this episode, which was the final episode of Series 1, basically every memory of our lives is recorded and playable via a grain. It's implanted behind your ear, a little pill-sized insert that connects to your brain, records your memories, all of them, and you can play them back. You have a child, the child has a grain, you can play back your child's memories. Spy on the babysitter, basically. See what the kid sees. You can project it onto the wall, so you can share it with other people. You can zoom in. You can do recognition of lips reading. So if it's far away and you can't hear it in the memory, you can zoom in and let the technology decipher what was being said based on reading the lips. This is extremely powerful and dangerous and batshit crazy, if I do say so myself. Just putting it out there, I absolutely do not care to have this, nor do I want it. It's freaking ridiculous. It's creepy. It's the entire history of us. Everyone has it, except for a select few individuals, and we meet one of those in the episode. But this is a great episode, and it's science fiction at its best because it's so grounded in reality. It's not far-fetched to assume that potentially this could happen. You're basically just accessing the computer that is our brain and recording what the brain sees and acknowledges to a database. Because honestly, our brain records our memories, but then we forget them or they get buried and they're hard to access. This little grain just tabulates them all. Now the creepy part is that you can pull them up anytime you want in the middle of doing whatever you want. And this particularly unhappy married couple has sex, bad sex, while watching themselves have great sex, basically the first time. They're watching their first time while having bad sex in the present. It's just freaking creepy. And then this man who his wife's cheating on him, basically, and he sees the old, they go to a party, and he sees how she interacts with someone who he never met before, Jonah, and yet she dated this person, and it turns out that what he thought was a week was 6 months, was a year, was a much longer relationship. And he just sees the body language, and he's diving into it. Look how you look at him, and look how you look at me. Where's about the difference? I'm the difference. It's really smart. And then at the party, one of the hosts throws up an old memory on the wall of college days, and in the background is his wife making out with this person who they were supposedly not together. Well, they were together. And then they got back together. And then he questions whether his child is his or this other man's because she cheated on him with that man at the same time that the child would have been conceived. And so then he's like, show me that you made him put a condom on when you had sex with him, which is possible unless you delete those memories. You do have the ability to delete memories, but then there would be a gap in your timeline. So he goes and makes this man delete all the memories of his wife. The whole concept is trippy because he sees something from a distance and zooms in to see what was really happening. Then he lip reads to see what they were saying and talking about. And then the man makes a joke and nobody laughs except for his wife. And he's just like, why did you find that funny? Nobody found it funny. And then he asked the babysitter, was it funny? This is not funny. The entire episode, right? The world is as we know it to be, except they have this grain. And there's a couple of other advanced technologies. It's not really advanced. The show is a few years old now and took place in England because that was where the original series kicked off. And so they have some swipe access things that are actually more commonplace now, but they weren't then. But the grain, we don't have a grain, obviously. And then at the party, there's an individual who was gouged, which means someone removed the grain and then sold it on the black market for her memories, which is also creepy. But then she says how happy she is and how free she is now that she doesn't have this crutch. Because basically, anything you can see, you can re-see. And then you can always analyze it. And so then you're like, he went on a job interview, and afterwards he's zooming in to read the body language of the interviewers to see whether he thinks he got it or not. Based on and you're just going to drive yourself mad. And that is exactly what happens. That's why this episode is great. Someone recently told me that this was literally their favorite Black Mirror episode. I understand why. Because this is such like a realistic twist on society, and like this seemingly advantage drives you crazy. Because there's an individual that works for Grain in the show, and she's going on and on about how our memories are unreliable, and like you could get memories planted, and you could have done things and not remembered them, or think you did things that never happened. And while all those things are true, it ignores the fact that your ability to recall this will drive you insane. And that's what happens. This man ultimately removes it from himself by at the end of the episode because he can't handle it. Like, you have all of this stuff in your life, right? Lessons, failures that teach you and help you grow as a person. But if you can constantly go back to look at your failure, you're not learning from it. You're just letting it eat you alive. None of these people went back to revisit a success. They all were revisiting low points. And that's kind of human nature, isn't it? We like our successes. We feel good about our successes. But we then use them to move forward rather easily. We have a very hard time using our failures and our lows to move forward. But they are much more powerful tools to do so. Yet we constantly analyze them. What did we do wrong? Why did this happen? How do I feel? And it's a cycle and a cycle and a cycle, and you're just wallowing in the negative. And it's a reasonable explanation for this. It is a proven fact that thinking negatively is easier than thinking positively. Our brains easily think negative, think bad thoughts. It's a lazy thought. You don't have to work very hard to think of the negative of something. It's the animal instincts, if you will, to survive. Oh, this might happen, it's bad. So you immediately think of the bad because you need to survive. And that applies to our entire lives when, in fact, it really doesn't. It's just the lazy brain thought because it's the easy thought. You have to work a little harder to be positive and think positive. So just like that, with the Grain, you have to work a little harder to actually replay the positives and not the negatives. Yeah, sure, they're replaying the greatest sex they ever had as a couple, but they're doing it while having bad sex in the present. They're not living in the present. They are constantly living in the past. And you cannot possibly grow and change and evolve into the future if you're always living in the past. You need to let the past go. Learn, grow from it, let it go. This episode of Black Mirror had so many valuable lessons, so many hits at human nature. It's brilliant. It's also creepy as F because it's not inconceivable for this technology to exist. It's so powerful and so dangerous. He wants to go board, I think it was a train, and they basically scanned his memory to make sure he didn't do anything illegal, didn't delete anything that could have been illegal before they let him on. The government scans your memories to ensure that you didn't do anything that would be a red flag before you can board a train. We're worried about big government. That's big government. The pros definitely don't outweigh the cons. I'm Dan Salem. Subscribe to the BuzzChomp YouTube channel for more great sci-fi videos. We're following all our favorite shows all year long. And comment below, did you love this episode of Black Mirror? What's your favorite? I'm slowly picking and choosing my way through them. There's a lot of great ones. This one stands out. It's trippy.
Thanks for watching BuzzChomp.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.
Share.